Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings Middle-earth strategy battle game, Battle Reports. Leading the forces of evil is the Witch King of Angmar. He has the Crown of Morgul, a Fell Beast, and he's got 3 Might, 17 Will, and 3 Fate. In the Witch King's Warband, he has 3 Angmar Orcs with 2-handed weapon, 4 Angmar Orcs with shield, and 4 Wild Wargs. Bringing chill aura to the battlefield is the Shade, and he has with him 5 Angmar Orcs with shield, 5 with spear, 1 with a 2-handed weapon, and 1 with a banner, spear, and shield. The final warband is a Barrow-wight. He has a very similar warband of 5 with shield, 5 with spear, and then 2 with 2-handed weapon. And that is 600 points of Angmar. This small but perfectly formed Grey Company's force is led by Aragorn. With him is Halbarad with the banner of Arwen Evenstar, and Legolas and Gimli, and then 4 Rangers of the North with spear for 600 points of Grey Company. This is the table for today's battle, representing an abandoned village that's been taken over and overrun by orcs. There's an objective marker in the centre, that fallen horse in the centre there, and that is because today's scenario is hold ground. For this scenario, the 2 armies are trying to get to the centre and hold the centre, and there's a lot of victory points for it. There's 3 if you're able to take it and have more models on your side than the enemy side around that objective. You get 5 if you have double, and you get 7 victory points if you have triple. There's also 1 victory point for wounding the enemy leader and 2 for killing them. And there's 1 victory point for breaking your opponent and 3 for breaking them while being unbroken yourself. Victory points, as always, are counted up at the end of the game, and this game ends randomly on the roll of a 1 or 2 once one force has started the turn broken. Deployment for this battle is Maelstrom of Battle, so we'll roll for first turn priority and then we'll see where the forces are coming onto the board. First turn priority goes to evil. For the Shade first, and the Shade gets a 5, so that is anywhere east or west. The Shade, along with his warband and the banner, have come in on the right hand side. Now we'll roll for the Barrow-wight, which is a 3, so that's anywhere that the opposing force want to put them, also on east and west. With no might to affect the roll, the Barrow-wight has been forced to go at the opposite side of the board. Let's see where the Witch King is going to go. A 6, so anywhere he wants. So that is the end of deployment for the forces of evil, with the Shade on the right, the Barrow-wight on the left, and then the Witch King has come in on the centre, with a screen of wargs and orcs behind him, so that if the Grey Company do come in behind, he won't get charged. They'll be able to decide what he's going to do and cast spells. He's also chosen to go in the centre, so that he can either go left or right and protect whichever band gets picked on by the Grey Company, depending on where they come in. So that's the end of Evil's move. We'll roll to see where the Grey Company are going to come in. It's a 4, so anywhere they want, north or south. So rolling a 4, Aragorn has sent the Grey Company right on behind the Witch King. They're going to have a deadly volley of arrows, and then they're going to charge and get stuck straight in. This could be a very quick and brutal game. Into the shoot phase then, and the 4 Rangers of the North are going to shoot at the Witch King. We've marked off which colours each of them are going to be in case any of them spend might. So we'll roll all of these at once. And only 2 hit because they've moved. So they're hitting on 4s. From that angle, there's going to be no in the ways. So it is just Beast or Rider. And they both hit the Beast. And the purple one could use a point of might to hit the Witch King, but it's not really worth it, not when he's wounding on 6s by 4s. So both on the Beast, no wounds. So ineffectual first volley for the Rangers, but there is still Halbarad and Aragorn, and in fact all of them, even Gimli with his throwing axe. So Halbarad is going to shoot the Witch King as well. He misses. Aragorn hits. Does he hit Beast or Rider? It hits the Beast. And it wounds the Fell Beast. So the Fell Beast has taken a wound. And then Gimli is just going to throw an axe into that 2-hander. He misses because he's moved. Gutted. Then Legolas is going to use his auto hit onto the Witch King. So he needs a 2+ to hit. He's hit. And then it's 6s by 4s. Only a 3. Not worth 3 points of might. Evil have survived the shooting. And now we're going to roll for turn 2 priority. Oh, it's cocked. Although, as Evil had it last, on the 6, Good automatically take priority. First things first, Gimli is going to advance and throw his throwing axe. He hits, because it's no negative on the charge, but a 2 is not enough to wound. That is Gimli's throwing axe attempt over. End of Good's move, and they have just charged forward. They're going to cut their way through these orcs and try and get on the centre as quick as they can. The Witch King has decided that it's just too dangerous to go after one of the rangers with wargs blocking it off, because all of these orcs are going to get annihilated realistically by these big heroes, and then the Witch King would have a heroic move roll off or get killed, and it's just not worth the risk. So his wargs have all fled. They're just going to sacrifice those orcs in true Evil style, and the Witch King is just going to potter over there protected by some wargs. Before he goes though, he's going to try his hand at a 1 dice drain will on Aragorn. Goes off on a 5. Ooh, not quite. He's got his reroll. Oh, not worth a point of might, so he's just going to move off. And that is the end of the Witch King's move. Start of the combat phase, and Aragorn is going to call a heroic combat with his 3 point of might. Everyone else is just going to hold on to their might for now. So it's Aragorn with 3 and his spear supports. They easily win that, getting the 6. And then Aragorn with Anduril, which is 3 with this Legendary Legion, wounding on 4. So he has cut that orc to pieces. And then he is going to move. It's been pre-measured. He can get in on that warg there. We'll continue with Aragorn. And it's his 3 attacks against 1 for the Wild Warg. The Wild Warg loses, even though Aragorn only rolled a 2 high. That is heartbreaking stuff for Angmar there. And then the Warg easily gets cut to bits there. The next fight is Gimli and Friend against shielding Orc. Gimli's going to use his 2 axes. He wins the fight there. Again, nice and easy on the 6. They are both strength 4, Gimli and Friend, so they're wounding on 5s there. And there is the 5, so that orc is toast. The next fight is Legolas. He's just 2 attacks against a stabbing orc. He's going to go for gold. But Legolas gets the 6. So Legolas, wounding on 5s, kills him there on the 6. That is another dead orc. We've then got a Ranger of the North, 2 attacks against Piercing Striking Orc. In fact, no, he's not going to Piercing Strike because the Ranger of the North is defensive 5, so it wouldn't have any benefits. Oh, he's won! There is the Halbarad banner to a 5. So that Ranger there is going to spend a point of might to win the fight. There's no point risking his death. So this Ranger here has spent a point of might. And then he's going to attack, but not kill. Strength 4 against defense 5. He survives and took a point of might off this Ranger. So that's quite good for the Orc. We then have Halbarad against a... Is that a 2-hander? He is. He is going to 2-hand. Why not? That's why not. But it wouldn't have made a difference. On the 1 against a 6 and a 5, Halbarad easily wins and then cuts him to pieces. That is some serious power there from the Grey Company on their initial charge. We've then got this chap against an Orc. And that Orc's just going to fight it. He loses there to the 6. And then I'll go down on 5s. And there is another 6. That Orc is dead. That was brutal there. There's just one Ranger of the North that wasn't quite as good at fighting as his friends, but everyone else whipped their targets and killed them all. That is a brutal first set of combats. End of turn 2, and the Grey Company have cut through the centre, but with Orc hordes on either side, the battle is far from over. Let's roll for turn 3 priority. This time it goes to Angmar. Turn 3, and after a lot of consideration, Aragorn and the Grey Company are not going to call a heroic move. There's very little that can threaten them at the moment. Even if the Witch King gets some spells off and charges in, odds are the remaining Grey Company will be able to cut through and then swamp the Witch King. So they're fairly safe as they are. They're willing to save their might. So we'll go straight into the movement phase. Just about the end of the movement phase for evil. The Witch King is going to try and drain Aragorn's will. Again, he's just going to try with a 1. Doesn't go off on a 3. He's got his reroll from the crown to a 1. Still doesn't go off. So then he's going to potter over here. Nicely out of the way. Which we've pre-measured to be just behind the objective marker. End of the movement phase. And both of the large hordes of orcs have just moved towards the centre and towards the Grey Company, while the warg here has charged Aragorn, since being counter-charged by Gimli, and this chap charged Legolas, making sure that Legolas couldn't do his auto hit on the Witch King. The Ranger here couldn't get into any combats and decided he'd move across slightly, and he is going to take a shot at the Witch King. Shoot phase then, and this Ranger here is going to take a shot into the Witch King. There are no in the ways, but he has moved, so he's hitting on 4s. He hits on the 6. Beast or Rider. It hits the Beast, although it's already taken a wound. And there it takes another wound. That leaves the Fell Beast with just 1 wound remaining. That is not bad there for a single lucky arrow. Into the combat phase, and this Ranger here, with his spear like a lance, is going to call a heroic combat, and then Aragorn, using his 3 point of might, is going to be calling a heroic combat as well. We'll start off with Aragorn. Gimli will be the blue dice and Aragorn will be the green. They've got the 6, and then they are going to be wounding on something daft like 4s across the board. That is a very dead warg. And then Aragorn is going to move up straight down the throats of those wargs. Gimli an inch behind him because he's got short, stubby dwarven legs. The next fight, or the last fight, is this chap here. He's going to shield. Oh, he does get a 6. So you never know. We'll roll Halbarad to a 5 high. We'll do the banner now. No. Then we have Legolas, who gets the 6. So Legolas is 1. We'll do Legolas and Halbarad's strikes, and they absolutely slaughter that orc. And again, they are just going to plough straight up the centre. And we're getting to the end of the river, and we'll move the rest of those now. The Grey Company have continued their charge towards the centre in turn 3 and have cut through all of the orcs and several of the wargs that were in their way. Let's roll for turn 4 priority. This time, on the draw, it goes to the forces of good. Turn 4 with good priority. The Witch King is not going to call a heroic move because the control zones of the wargs mean that Aragorn can't get round, and if Gimli charges, he'll then be blocking the way. But if Gimli can throw his axe and kill one of the wargs, Aragorn will be able to charge him. But the odds of that happening are so small, the Witch King is going to risk it. So without further ado, Gimli's throwing axe. Misses. It was a good call there from the Witch King not to bother. Last but not least, the Witch King is going to move. And before he does, he's going to use 3 will to transfix Aragorn. It goes off on a 5. He'll chance his hand at a reroll, because he might as well. Oh, cocked. He's looking for that 6. No, it's a 1. So it goes off on a 5. Aragorn is going to resist. He's going to resist that on 2 will. Could come back to bite him. Oh, that's not good. It's only a 3 high, so he's going to have to use his 3 point of will, of might, and 1 from his store to resist that transfix. And after that, the Witch King is then going to move. The Witch King is then going to go big or go home, and he's going after a non-transfixed Aragorn, with the logic that Aragorn's used his 3 point of might, so the inevitable strike off will at least drain some resources from Aragorn. This could go very well or very badly for either side. An overview of the table at the end of movement for turn 4. The forces of good have continued their charge up the centre, with Aragorn and Gimli charging into the wargs, while Legolas and Halbarad have charged this wall here. They thought about just moving up to the centre, but that would have meant that there could have been a wall formed of orcs, which the Witch King could then hide behind, and it would have been a bit of an uphill slog. So they've gambled that they can cut through these orcs and then turn the tide against the remaining forces of evil. The orcs have just all swarmed forward, and the Witch King, as we've already seen, has gambled and has charged into Aragorn. The only other real move of note is the Shade has charged into Legolas, which might seem slightly daft, but the Shade has 3 wounds, its defense 8, so it's quite hard to kill. In fact, Legolas can't one-shot it, so it stops him doing a heroic, and it also gets the bubble to affect Gimli and Aragorn, along with all of these. So hopefully that's going to be a good call, unless other things start to join that fight and the Shade goes down, and then it is going to be a bit of a bad day for Angmar. Before we get stuck into combat though, there's this chap here. He has moved, he's hit there on the 4, and he kills. He's killed that orc there right in front of him. Not a bad shooting phase there. 1 arrow, 1 kill. Start of the combat phase, and the Witch King is calling a heroic strike. Aragorn is going to call one as well with a point of might from his store, And then Gimli and Halbarad are both going to be calling heroic combats. This could be very, very messy now for the Witch King. We should also point out that the Shade is, of course, activating his Chill aura, which gives all enemies within 6 inches -1 to their dual wound. First of all then, before the heroic combats are resolved, we need to find out whose strike is going to be higher, and they are both going to be fight 10. First heroic then, Gimli is going to use his 2 axes to get 3 attacks against that warg. And he has lost a 1, 2 and a 1 from Gimli. The warg has won. Gimli would have to spend 3 points of might. He's not even got 3 points of might because he's called a heroic combat. That is abysmal from Gimli. The warg fails to wound, but that has wounded Gimli's pride. That is shocking there from the dwarf. We'll do the rest of the combats down this line, and we'll start off here. So it's 2 attacks for the Ranger of the North against a 2-handed piercing striking orc, a piercing striking orc, and the spear supports. The 2-hander is the big dice, and that chap has lost because the 6 goes down to a 5. And I think he is one that spent his might. Let's double check. Oh, so Upright Spear is the chap that spent his might, so he can't bump that 6 back up to a 6, so he is going to take strikes. The 2-hander is going to be wounding him on 4s, and the other 2 on 5s. And he is dead. That's a wound and a wound, so even with his fate point, he is dead. A bad start there to this standard round of combats. We've then got another 2 on 2. Oh, and again it goes to Evil, but there is the Halbarad banner, which gets it. So Evil are going to roll. They need a 6 to win. They've lost. So that Ranger is going to make strikes and kill there. So that is 1 dead orc. We've then done Halbarad. We'll do this one next. It's another 2 on 2. The Rangers, of course, having 2 attacks while they're on foot. And he's lost. Even with... Oh, in fact, if he banners it, he can might it back up. But no, he has lost. He's taking wounds on 5s. No wounds there. So he just backs away and he is safe. We'll fish those dice out. And then we'll do Legolas. So Legolas... We'll set the bar with a 5 that goes down to a 4. That's not so great. Can the orcs beat it? No, they can't. They can match it, but not beat it. They're going to use their banner, and Legolas has won the fight. So Legolas is going to put his first strike into the orc, because if he gets more kills than Gimli, Gimli will get +1 to wound. He hasn't killed him. He's going to chance his hand with another. No. Is it worth a point of might to give Gimli +1 to wound? Yes. He's going to spend a point of might because Gimli's fighting the Witch King, so +1 to wound is going to be big. So Gimli has +1 to wound as Legolas has got 1 kill. Main event for the turn. It's the Witch King and a Wild Warg against Aragorn. We'll roll them all together. Aragorn in green. The Witch King obviously in red. Oh, he's charged. So he's got an extra dice. And then the Warg is the big one. Aragorn's got a 5 and so has the Witch King. Aragorn can bump that back up to a 5, but as he's only got 1 point of might, the Witch King can get to 6. So he will win. There's nothing Aragorn can do about that. Does he save his might for fate? Yes, he is going to save his might for fate. This could be a huge mistake as the Warg takes strikes against him and deals a wound there. Oh, this could be very, very bad. And then the Witch King, his first set of strikes, deals 1 wound and 2, 3 wounds. Ooh, that is not good. So he's taken 4 in total. He could make it 5 with a point of might, but that would take him down to just 1 left. He's going to do it. it's worth it. So he ups that. That is 5 wounds against Aragorn. He's got 3 fate. He's going to roll them all. Oh, that's 5 wounds. He can save 2 because he's got a point of might left. But he is dead because 3 wounds make it through. Aragorn slain by the Witch King and a wild warg. What an end to the turn. End of the turn, and that was brutal for the Grey Company. It should be pointed out that we didn't forget about Halbarad's heroic combat. It's just the footage was lost. It all went a bit Pete-tong this turn, and we've refunded Legolas's might that he spent to kill this chap and put him back, as it all went a bit Pete-tong up here because of the angle. Forgotten that warg was in, and so it would have split the combat off. If Gimli did what he was originally going to do, we had to go back, and it was all a big mess. So that is the end of the turn. Apologies that was a little bit messy, but Aragorn there falling, and quite a few down here. The Shade really worth his points there, killing pretty much everyone that died there. Lost because of the Shade. Certainly Aragorn there losing his life because of the Shade. That is absolutely massive. So that is the end of the turn. Let's roll for turn 5 priority. And it goes to the Forces of Evil. Start of turn 5 move, and with Evil priority, this ranger here is calling a heroic move to try and get the Grey Company onto that central objective. The Witch King is going to counter. And on a 1, it goes to Evil. With priority, the Witch King is not going to bother calling with me. He's just going to go straight into the ranger that called the heroic move. And then all of the forces of Angmar will get to move wherever they want to go. End of the move, and the Barrow-wight still hasn't moved. He is going to use 3 will to paralyse Gimli. And it goes off on a 6. Gimli's got 2 will, but he fails to resist it. He doesn't have enough might left to do anything about that, so he is transfixed. And he's paralysed rather, so we'll put that marker on him. He is going to be in a lot of trouble there. Grimbold's horse interrupts this battle to say nothing. He doesn't exist. But please do like, comment and subscribe. End of the movement phase, and Angmar have swarmed all over the remaining Grey Company. It is not looking good for the Forces of Good. The Shade has moved so that he's going to be affecting every single combat, and it's going to be a messy turn. There's no shooting. We'll start off here with this combat. It's 3 on 2. Oh, and it goes to Evil because that is -1. However, he's the only Ranger of the North that still has a point of might, so he's going to use that point of might to win. He's going to go after the 2 Spearmen because they're only defense 4, so he's wounding on 4s. He kills one. Going to take that chap out, and then those 2 back away. So that's a good effort there from the Ranger. Hopefully they can keep it up. The next fight will be this one. It's 3 on 1 again. Can he do it? Oh no, he can't beat the 6 from the Orcs because he is out of might. So they're making strikes. Wounding on 5s, no wounds, but he's trapped, so double strikes. Oh, and there's 2. He is dead. They back away, and he is killed. The next fight will be, we'll do Halbarad next. So Halbarad against 1 and a 2-handed piercing striker. Oh, Halbarad there. Oh, has drawn the fight because that is -1. So, reroll for the banner. Halbarad has won. He is going after the 2-hander and has probably killed him because he piercing struck, didn't he? And he goes down to defense 2. So, yep, that's killed him. And the other one's defense drops to defense 3, so we'll need 4s, and he's killed him. Halbarad there, killing 2. That's a good effort, but then it is the Witch King on the charge against the Ranger, and the Witch King has stuffed him up there. Even if he re-rolls, he can't beat the Witch King there because of fight value and the -1 of the Shade. So then the Witch King, does he barge and go into Halbarad and risk it for a biscuit, or does he just slaughter that guy? He's going to just kill him. He has not wounded, I don't think. So that's an abysmal first set, but he's knocked him prone, and a 5 and a 4 has got the kill. So Halbarad making way. He backs away, but dies. 2 more Rangers of the North fall there. And then next we have a trapped Legolas, who is going to set the bar at a 4 high, which -1's down. Banners, ooh, to a 6, which is then down to a 5, but he has got might. So then there are 5 orcs in there that, excluding the banner, but the banner won't be able to do anything about that because he's -1. So that is the 6, forcing Legolas to spend a point of might. But that is still a very positive result there for the elf, and he's going after the 2 spearmen. The spearmen there only needing 4s. He's killed 1. That is a dead orc. The rest back away. So that's a good result there. Definitely don't underestimate the Grey Company just because they've lost Aragorn. Although here, not so good, because paralysed means you automatically lose the fight. So then it's a lot of dice against him. Those 2 are going to stab rather. No, in fact, he's going to stab. He'll piercing strike, and he will 2-handed piercing strike. So the Warg and the piercing striker is strength 4, so defense 8. They need 6s. Oh, that is 2 wounds straight away. That is nasty. The 2-handed piercing striker needs 5s. And that is another wound against Gimli. Oh, that is not good. And then the chap who stabbed, so re-rolling 1s, needing 6s by 4. Does nothing. And then the spearman. If we can find enough dice. Oh, we'll have to grab multicoloured dice here. So these needing 6s by 4s. No, nothing there. So that is 3 wounds against Gimli. He is 2 wounds to fate. So he's going to have to take both of these fate and pass them both. He doesn't, but he's got 1 point of might. So he spends it to stay alive. That pushes all of these guys back. And he remains paralysed on the ground. End of turn 5. And while the Grey Company are certainly down, they are definitely not out. They've got quite a few kills that turn, and they are looking to keep pushing towards the centre. Before we roll for priority at the end phase of that turn, we roll a dice to see if Gimli stands. On a 6, he gets up, but he doesn't. He remains paralysed. That is not good there for Gimli, and we'll roll for turn 6 priority. It just goes to the forces of good. The 3 good heroes that were able to move have charged, and they've made sure that they are all within range of the objective in the centre, and they've managed to tie up the Witch King and stop his magic and his charge. That's the best they could do. Now the orcs are going to pile in. End of the movement phase, and the orcs and wargs have just piled in on everything. They're swamping the objective, and they are overwhelming the Grey Company. It's looking bleak. The movement's not over as the Barrow-wight moves up, and he is going to use 2 of his will, his last 2, to get a paralyze onto Halbarad there. So it goes off on a 4. It has gone off. Halbarad has 2 will, and he resists it there on the 4 and the 6. So he's only spent 1 will, he's resisted that, and the Barrowite is out of will. That is the end of the movement phase. There's no shooting, we'll go straight into combat. Start the combat phase, and both the Witch King and Halbarad are calling heroic strikes. Roll off. Oh, that is not good for Halbarad. The Witch King is up to fight 9, and Halbarad is definitely not. Good priority though, so we'll come back to Halbarad so that his banner can help out. And we'll start off with this fight here. It's 5 orcs and a warg against this chap. And if we've not already said it, the Shade is of course activating his chill aura. So the Ranger has 2 attacks. He gets to 4 down to 3 and loses miserably there. The Shade definitely doing its work, and then that's a lot of wounds. Absolutely slaughters that chap. Those that can just back away because they've trapped him. That is 1 more dead Grey Company. We'll then do Legolas. How many is Legolas facing? Legolas is against, just 4 in the banner. So the banner will be the big red dice, and we'll let Legolas set the bar on just a 4 down to a 3. That's not good. Oh, and that's a 6. Legolas can't do anything about that. He's not got enough might, so he is taking strikes. He has got armor, so he is defense 5, which means that he is, in fact, still just being wounded on 5s. So 5 attacks doubled because he's trapped. Oh, that's 3 wounds. That's cocked. That's 4 wounds. They're all double strikes. Oh, 5, 6, 7, 8 wounds. Legolas slaughtered by orcs there. If we can fish him out past the tail. That is not good for the Grey Company at all. The next fight then is Gimli. He's still unfortunately paralysed, so he automatically loses. He's only got 1 wound left. We have a piercing striker, 2 stabbers, a normal chap, and a 2-handed piercing striker. So the 2-handed piercing striker needing 5s kills him there with a 6. That's Gimli dead. And now last man standing, it is Halbarad. These 2 have already fought. We'll just shimmy them away so that we know. Halbarad, with his 2 attacks, gets a 5, which goes down to a 4. He can banner himself, but it's not helping. So he is praying that the Witch King and co roll low. So the Witch King there gets the 6. Not good there for Halbarad. We'll do the Shade first, who is only strength 1, fighting against Halbarad's courage, needing 6s. No. The Orc needing 6s as well. No. And then the Witch King. Now, he is trapped. The Witch King would need 4s on 6 dice. He's going to go for it. So, needing 4s, he gets 2. And then the second set, that is 3 wounds. He's out of might. So it all comes down to Halbarad's fate roll. Does Halbarad live? No! Halbarad is dead. He's only got 1 fate. Halbarad is dead, and that is a total wipeout. Going into the turn not yet broken, and ending the turn completely tabled. That is a resounding victory for Angmar. So the Grey Company are routed. Well, not just routed, slaughtered, and Angmar have taken the prize. That really does just go to show that once the momentum stops for the Grey Company, they can fall apart very, very quickly. That was brutal. I hope you enjoyed this battle report. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Before we get stuck into the combats though, there is this one chap here who's moved, but he's going to shoot into these guys. He's hit. Oh,